Hi, I'm Rachel Barton Pine, and welcome to Family Fridays with RBP. Today's episode is going to focus on dancing. And, for the entirety of its existence, this instrument has been associated with dance. And even before that, its bowstring ancestors played for dance music. It's such a popular instrument for dancing all around the world that often you'll have a room full of dancers and nothing providing the music except for one violin. Well, I'm going to kick things off with an American waltz. This was written by a dear friend of mine, the great Appalachian fiddler, Bruce Molsky. If you haven't heard of Bruce Molsky or heard his music, please be sure to check him out. He's absolutely incredible, and I'm so honored that he composed this piece for me. The first part of it sounds very much like a fiddle waltz, but then it actually gets into a more classical approach towards the end. Bruce and I first met out in the beautiful woods outside of Nashville, the Montgomery Bell State Park in Tennessee, where Mark O'Connor, another great fiddler, violinist, composer, everything guy, Mark O'Connor brought us together along with all kinds of specialists and all kinds of different styles, and we all got to know each other. And as a classical violinist, it was just incredible to be able to intersect with all these amazing artists and get to know so many great friends and learn about their worlds and about their music. So I always think of, just a nice summer day outside with the green fields when I hear music like this. So here is Bruce Molsky's Waltz. Waltz by Bruce Molsky. So, of course, I've got to play a little Bach, and I thought I would play a Bach minuet. Minuets are generally the first thing that young violinists ever play by Bach, and the minuet was not a dance that you would do, in a pub or just when hanging out. It was really a very courtly dance. The upper classes would dance the minuet, and they would be all dressed up, so it was very stylized. It was always in three, and it always started on the first beat, and usually a minuet would announce that it was indeed a minuet by having a very typical phrase structure at the beginning of the piece of 2 bars plus 4 bars. So you would have 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And then everybody would go, oh, it's a minuet. So a couple of the minuets that we learned when we were children, well, there's this one. There's your 2-bar phrase, your next 2-bar phrase, and then your 4-bar phrase. That actually, by the way, is not by Bach. It's by another German composer, Christian Petzold. And, well, basically Bach had written a collection or compiled a collection of some of his favorite pieces for his wife, Anna Magdalena. It was kind of the 18th century equivalent of a mixtape or a playlist. So he wrote this manuscript with all these great pieces in it, and later generations assumed that, well, since Bach had written all this stuff down, it must all be by him. And yes, most of it was by him, but sometimes there is stuff from other people too, including that one by Petzold. And here's another minuet that we all know and love. 2-bar phrase. That one was also a favorite of Bach, but not by him either. It's by the ever-popular composer Mr. Anonymous. And that was a really fun one when my daughter was young and first learning it, or about to learn it, I should say, because I started introducing it to her at about age 2. And so every day, virtually at age 2 and 3, we would sing, I love peanut butter sandwiches, I love peanut butter sandwiches, Mommy makes them, Daddy makes them, and I can make them too. I don't know if I would have made as silly lyrics for that song if it had really been by Bach. But anyway, here's a Bach minuet. It's actually a pair of minuets. So you'll hear the first minuet, the first section, AA, and then the second section, BB, and then the CCDD for the second minuet. And then we go back to the first minuet and play each half once. So AA, BB, CCDD, AB. And you can just imagine people all dressed up dancing to this minuet. This would not have actually been danced to. This was a concert minuet, so people would have listened to it as performance music, but kind of envisioned the dancers in their mind as they enjoyed the music. So that's the Bach Minuets from the third Partita in E major. Well, I said you would never dance a minuet in a pub, but you would definitely dance some Scottish jigs in a pub. And it's no fun playing Scottish fiddling all by yourself. I definitely miss being able to go over to the Chicago Scottish Jam every Tuesday evening. But at least I've got one fiddler quarantining with me, my daughter Sylvia. So Sylvia's going to join me for a medley of jigs. Sylvia has actually gotten to do some Scottish dancing. Highland dancing, which is the kind where you put your hair in a bun and you jump and kick, and Scottish country dancing, which is more of a lowland style, kind of the ancestor of square dancing, and also Ceilidh dancing, which is essentially party dancing. And of course, she's fiddled for dancers, and it's really cool to be able to dance for fiddling and fiddle for dancing, because you really get the idea of how the fiddling should feel with the tempo and the inflections, because you know what the actual moves are. So we're going to play a medley of jigs, starting with a traditional 18th century tune called Middling Thank You, and then a jig composed by Sylvia called The Black Spirit Horses, and finally a jig actually composed by me. But Sylvia gave it its title, because I'm no good at coming up with titles, and Sylvia named it The Whiskey Barrel. So here is our jig medley. Welcome, Sylvia.
Hi.
How are you this morning?
Okay.
I see you've got your Baroque bow ready to go. And another episode of Family Fridays, I ought to tell everybody about Baroque bows and what they are and where they come from and all of that. But let's get on to the dancing today.
Yeah.
Sylvia. And Sylvia's going to be back next week help me play some bagpipe music. All right. And actually, if you want to check out some more Scottish fiddling, I'm going to be teaching for the next 2 weeks. Oh, you can go now. Thanks so much. I'm going to be teaching for the next 2 weeks at my favorite Scottish fiddle camp that I've been going to in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina for many, many years. But this year, of course, it's online, the Jink and Diddle School of Scottish Fiddling. And for the first time, I'm going to be offering a special multi-day class called Scottish Fiddling for Classical Violinists. So that should be super fun. All right, back to the modern bow here. And I'm going to finish off with a piece by another dear friend of mine who I also first met at the Mark O'Connor Fiddle Camp, Daniel Bernard Roumain, an amazing composer, activist, educator, so many different descriptions, but he is one of the great composers of hip-hop inspired classical music. And just in honor of my performing his piece today, you can actually find a free download of his page from my RBP Foundation's coloring book of Black composers. If you go to musicbyblackcomposers.org/sample, you can download the DBR coloring page and check out his bio and everything. And actually, just last night, I was honored to be a guest on Daniel's own show called Who We Are with DBR, and that's still up on YouTube if you want to check that out. I'm playing some of his music, and unbelievably, we managed to actually jam together across the internet, which was really amazing. Okay, so here is Daniel's second dance, hip-hop dance number 2, which he composed for me. You might have actually seen hip hop dance number 1 on YouTube. I have a performance of it. Actually, it's the one and only thing you'll get if you Google Rachel Barton Pine and hip hop, is this piece by Daniel Bernard Roumain, and it's really just such a wild ride. And this is hip hop dance number 2, which, unless you've seen me played in live performance, you've probably never heard before. But it's a very different animal than hip hop dance number 1. It's shorter and it's a little darker and very, very intense. So here we go. Hip Hop Dance number 2 by Daniel Bernard Roumain. Thanks so much for tuning in. Next week, we're going to have a whole different set of instruments. The flute, the horn, the harmonica, and the bagpipe, instruments from the woodwind family. No, I don't play any of those things, but I'm going to play some really cool repertoire where the violin imitates all of those instruments. So see you next week.